What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We are back in the garage with the M4GTS. Today we are focusing on the muffler. So if you guys have been following along, we've been running down this path of trying to find the perfect exhaust note for this car. As you guys know, the S55s are just inherently raspy. Currently we have the ARM catless downpipes running into the active AutoWork equal length mid pipes, but the rear muffler is the factory GTS titanium muffler. The only issue with the factory muffler on this car is that it's titanium, so it just creates a ton of rasp. Has a rather tinny tone to it. And so really I'm just trying out a bunch of different combinations to see what I like best. Huge shout out to the guys over at Keys Motorsports. They sent out the Dinan Muffler. We're gonna try this one out today and see how it improves the tone. But as far as the install, it's pretty easy. This mounts right up to the active AutoWorks mid pipes. We can use the same clamps that are already on the car. We're just gonna unplug the valves, drop the exhaust, and install the new one. Let's get into it. All right, so the new system comes with everything you need. It's got instructions, it's got the pieces for the valves, it's got hardware, new clamps if you want to run them. I think we're just going to use the clamps that we already have in the car. And then these are the mounting brackets for the electronic valves. New muffler, obviously a little bit different now. We're going to have bigger tips, but they are black with the Dinan logo. A little bit smaller of a muffler, and then of course the valves, which will function just like factory OEM functionality. So here's the GTS muffler, and for right now I'm running a little bit of an odd diffuser setup because I have a new one coming. These are from the three-piece design. I just haven't taken them off yet. I don't think that the new diffuser is going to be here in time for the Keys Auto Show. So we'll see how this muffler fits. I might actually throw on the full three-piece diffuser, but I sort of want to see how these tips look with the OEM diffuser portion. I was watching Tommy L Garage's video and he did a similar setup but with the OEM downpipes, and one complaint that he had is that the new tips didn't stick out far enough. I kind of feel like with this OEM diffuser portion that might be perfect for me because I don't want the tips sticking out beyond the diffuser, but I would like them as flush as possible. So we're gonna run this setup for now and see how it works with the Dinan muffler. We're just gonna undo these 15mm bolts right here for these clamps, and then there's a couple of 13mm right there on the hanger. I've already unplugged the valves. We'll go ahead and pull that muffler out and then switch over the hangers and of course the valves, and then reinstall. Not fun by yourself, Tommy. I should have got that motorcycle jack that you had. That looked really nice. But nonetheless, we got her off. So this muffler is a lot bigger. And I noticed with my three-piece design diffuser, with this muffler, that diffuser would hit the muffler. So kind of thinking that the three-piece middle section might be able to go back on when I run this and it won't hit it. But we will we'll throw this on with the OEM one and kind of see where the tips lay. If the tips are basically even with this diffuser, I'll probably just keep this setup for right now until my new one piece comes in, but we'll make that judgment call once we get it on. Let's go ahead and swap over the hangers and then of course the valves, and then we can go ahead and reinstall the new one. Also interesting, I just picked them both up, and this is titanium and this is stainless, but the muffler is obviously a lot smaller on this one, and this seems to be lighter than the factory one. So don't really have to worry about, you know, adding weight or anything by going to this one. We'll actually end up losing a little bit of weight. I was looking at the diagram when I was installing these, and I didn't realize that they had their valves closed when they were installing it, which makes sense because that's typically how the car is, but I had mine coded to stay open. So just make sure that your valves, your little valve pins, are in the correct orientation. So if they're open, the pin will be sticking out this way, and if they're closed, it'll be sticking in that way. So I flipped around the pins, Everything looks good there. All right, so now for the super fun part when you're doing this alone is putting this back onto the car. I'm gonna try and start with these two pipes to go to the mid pipe, and then I'll work on the hangers. Okay, not as bad as I thought it would be. So here's where the tips line up. I actually think the other diffuser that I have is gonna work pretty well with these tips, because they stick out a little bit past the factory diffuser, and I wouldn't mind having them a little more flush. And so the aftermarket diffuser is just a little bit more aggressive. These tips are also a lot bigger. Looking underneath, yeah, that part was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I just went for these first. I lined it up with those and then went for these first, and everything just bolted right up. Got the valves plugged in, so we should have OEM functionality with the valves. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other diffuser and throw it on quick. And we're back. I think this diffuser fits this exhaust or muffler setup much better. That's how it looks under here. The nice part is the new diffuser, well, this diffuser, not the new one that I'm getting, but this diffuser doesn't hit the muffler anymore. So that was my gripe with the OEM muffler. It was so big, it would hit this carbon piece right here and create a lot of rattles. So we should be good now. I think at this point, I'm gonna hop in and start the car up and make sure that we don't have any leaks. However, I don't think we will. And also make sure that nothing is rattling. So right now, I just started it up. Valves are closed on both sides. Kind of hard to see. And now we'll go ahead and open them up. Immediately gets a lot louder. It's got a real nice deep rumble to it. Alright guys, we are back in the car and we're going to do a little drive along here and test out this Dinan muffler. So the valves are currently closed, and when the valves are closed on this muffler, it is very, very quiet. Sounds like a completely stock car, which is nice to have sometimes. You know, you don't always want to be super loud. It's good to have that OEM valve functionality. I actually think that this Dinan muffler sounds really good in terms of tone and body, but we're going to talk about some future plans that I have for this whole setup, and you know, just going down that rabbit hole of trying to make it sound as good as possible, in my opinion. We'll start with some valve closed driving, and then we'll go ahead and open it up so you guys can hear it. Super quiet. So I think you guys get the idea. Let's go ahead and open the valves. Immediately a lot louder. So from inside of the car, it's really not loud at all. Like, this setup is pretty tame, and I think a lot of that has to do with the mid pipes. It seems to me like these mid pipes did a really good job of removing the majority of that rasp, but at the same time, I also feel like these mid pipes remove some of the body of the tone, some of the fullness. It sounds a bit thin. It doesn't sound bad by any means, but I think it's just a preference in tone. So one thing that I do want to try is the Active Auto Work single mid pipe. With this current setup, if you're looking for no rasp, this is for sure the way to go. The titanium muffler before is really what is contributing to a lot of that raspiness. Now, I don't mind buying these different setups and trying them out because one, it helps me understand the platform a little bit more, and two, I think it also creates some good value for you guys if you're looking to run similar setups or something different, or you're just running into an exhaust issue and you're trying to come up with a better solution for it. I think that some of this will help you guys, but I am really curious to see if we don't change anything. So keep the Dinan muffler, keep the ARM catless downpipes that are resonated, and then try that Active Auto Work single mid pipe. I'm really curious to see what that sounds like. So it has a really nice rumble to it, but I think that as soon as you start getting into driving and like under load, it really tends to thin out the entire sound of the car or just the overall tone. And I noticed that when we went to the equal length mid pipe. So I think that, you know, with that equal length setup, you can eliminate the rasp, but you sacrifice some of that fullness and that body. So from everything that I've heard, the single pipe will also eliminate the rasp, but still retain some of that body. So we're gonna also try that out as well. I think that that's gonna be a really good setup for this car because I like the way that this Dinan muffler sounds. I also like the way that like the tips and everything look better than the factory muffler. So the muffler for me is going to stay, but I'm also entertaining possibly doing a different downpipe setup. Right now I'm on the ARM resonated catless setup, and while I think it sounds good, I think that resonation is actually pulling out some of the body of the tone. So I also want to play around with that stuff too. The next move for me though, in terms of exhaust setup, is going to be the mid pipe. I'm going to try out that single pipe and compare it with all these other ones, and even if we don't like it, it's okay. At least at that point we'll have the content of all of these different setups, so myself and you guys can make your own decisions as to what you like best. I think under load, this car sounds really good, but I find myself sort of missing some of that like deeper growl that it had when I had the factory midsection. All right, you guys, so we are running down the S55 exhaust note rabbit hole right now. And I know that it seems like it's such a big waste, but I really do. First of all, I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, and I enjoy making these kind of changes and reviews and just finding out different tones and seeing what works best with different products offered by different companies. But only time will tell. In the beginning, I was so sure that the resonated catless downpipes and that the equal length mid pipe was going to be the move. That was going to be the trick. In terms of the muffler though, the muffler is good. I like this muffler over the factory one. I know that some people are going to absolutely hate that because it's a GTS, but of course you guys can all make your own decisions on your cars and decide what you like best. So if you guys are interested in getting the Dinan muffler, I'm going to have it linked down below. I think it's a fantastic option for these cars. A few of my friends have single turbo setups and they are running the Dinan muffler and it sounds super, super good. also ran the Dinan Muffler on my M2, my N55, and that had a really, really good tone to it. This thing was super easy to install, and in my opinion, with this diffuser in the setup, it's the best setup that I've had so far. But nonetheless, I've got that single pipe midsection coming, and we're gonna try that out. If we don't like that, we might mess with the downpipes a little bit, do something different there. But yeah, in my opinion, with this diffuser and these tips like this, I think that this looks the best. It's almost perfectly flush with the diffuser, so it looks almost like factory. And then it just has these bigger black Dinan tips, which I think just looks so sick. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. Leave them down below, but I appreciate you guys. Love you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.